Wake up, Raider Nation. This week on Sin City Beat, we're digging into everything silver and black, from the anticipation of Brock Bowers to the downfall of Darren Waller and so much more. Don't go anywhere because Sin City Beat starts right now.
From Las Vegas, this is Sin City Beat.
Hello there and welcome. Thanks for joining us on Sin City Beat. I'm Mike Davis. Thanks for spending some time. Sin City Beat is the show that dissects the Vegas sports world through the eyes of the sports reporters and storytellers leading the charge. Get ready, Raider Nation, because on today's show, we're breaking down all things silver and black. Joining the action today on the panel, we have Case Kiefer, assistant sports editor of the Las Vegas Sun. We have our very own sports reporter with Fox 5 Las Vegas, Mariah Janos.
Hey.
And last but certainly not least, Q Myers, the host of Unnecessary Roughness on Raider Nation Radio. Great to have you guys with us. So listen, right off the bat, we got some fun, challenging stuff we got to discuss. Last year, the Raiders finished the season 8-9, missing out on the playoffs yet again. I want to know from all of you on the panel a reason why this team is a playoff-bound team and a reason why this team is not going to make the playoffs. Case, you have first honors.
All right, so I'm first, so why don't I just go most basic possible? Why they will make it? Defense. If they keep playing defense like they did at the end of last season and they have a lot of the same pieces in place, they're going to be tough to score on. I think that defense, if you're one of the top units in the NFL, they have that potential. They'll make it. Why they won't? Offense. I know it's just OTAs, but we've seen a few practices. The offense is looking a little rough. You're going to have either Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell at quarterback. I think even like best case scenario, they're like the 20th best quarterback in the NFL. It's hard to pick a team to make the playoffs with that.
If you think about defense, I mean, listen, Christian Wilkins, that signing, if he pops, if Tyree Wilson turns it around, I mean, then you start thinking, yeah, this team's going to get at the quarterback, and that defense could be pretty good. So that is, I think, good reasoning. Do we all agree? Do we like that reason?
I was going to say, I feel like we're all in agreement here because that is what it comes down to. When it's like, why won't they? Quarterback just flashes and lights.
Just offense in general.
Offense in general,
it starts with
like,
the quarterback.
How are you going to get it in their hands? Sure, you've got some talented players, but you need the guy to facilitate it.
Right.
And if you can't get there,
is there a chance that, you know, I hate to use this phrase, this term, game manager? We all remember the Trent Dilfers, those types of quarterbacks. Is there
they
any
had
chance?
Jimmy Garoppolo, the ultimate game manager.
Yeah, but he was an injury waiting to happen. Like, he just pulled a hammy right now. Just talking about him.
If you have a great defense, and a game manager, a suitable quarterback who doesn't make mistakes, this team can make the playoffs.
This is what I've been calling it, because everyone gets offended by game manager. You need good, consistent quarterback play. Right? It's a game manager, but let's just make it sound a little bit nicer. Good, consistent quarterback play. And my thing, to take it a step further when you talk about the offense, is Luke Getsy. I look at him, the offensive coordinator coming over from Chicago. He's got a lot of pieces there, right?
Yeah,
we know about the weapons. How does he put it all together? He's got all the dishes, right? He's got all the ingredients on the table. How is he going to make it a really good dinner? How is he going to hook that? That's really my biggest question. And if they don't make the playoffs, I feel like he didn't set the offense up for success.
Yeah,
I think O'Connell, what he did the last 5 games of the season last year, he had 8 touchdowns and only 1 interception. Like, he did well. Didn't do great, but that's good, consistent play. So if you can get that good, consistent play with them bloodthirsty Pirates that are on defense, you can have a really good team, but you got to do that.
Getsy, is he Getsing you exciting about this team?
Not yet. Not yet. That was okay. I would ring the bell on you if I had one, but that's okay.
Does he get you? But seriously.
Not yet. I think he's in a wait-and-see mode because we saw what happened in Chicago.
Wasn't that good of a situation.
No, it wasn't. So that's why, was it Getsy or was it the situation, right? I mean, so that's why I'm on a wait-and-see mode, because everyone talks about, well, Green Bay. He wasn't the offensive coordinator there.
Right.
I mean, was I good because I was in Green Bay? Like, no. You know what I mean? Like, which I wasn't. But I'm just saying, like, you have to show me.
You would be good in Green Bay. But all right, how about this? Let's ask this question, because I thought somebody was going to bring this up. How about a full season of AP? Coach Antonio Pierce, could he be the reason why this team is a playoff-bound team or not a playoff-bound team?
I mean, obviously the coach is always going to have a huge role. It's just how far does that go? You know the guys are going to have full effort. They're going to be going all out for him. I don't think that was like an aberration at the end of last season when you saw how much guys were inspired by him, how hard they played for him. So I do think that's a point in their benefit, but I don't know if you ultimately – I'm not the guy in the NFL where the coach with a team like this is ultimately going to be the one to set you over the top.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, again, like you said, there are some pieces in place that could really help put this team over the edge. Maybe, I know I said 6 wins a few weeks ago, but maybe get them to 8 wins or something like that.
But 10, it's going to take double digits to get to the playoffs.
You look at what you have, you look at your quarterback strengths and weaknesses, and like you said, you have to just play to that. And I think it is more on the offensive coordinator than it is the head coach, because he's looking at the big picture. And when all of us are in agreement that the concern is the offense, that's what you really have to hone in on.
Yeah, I'm excited for the AP stuff because I do think we're trending kind of like the Detroit Lions. What Dan Campbell has done from a culture standpoint, you have to set that stuff into motion. The locker room, the morale, the culture, it takes time to build. It doesn't happen in one season. So hopefully he can start introducing that to this team, and then maybe from an on-the-field standpoint, we get a quarterback in place, you'll see what happens. All right, guys. Now, if you watch the Apple docuseries, The Dynasty, I certainly did. It's all about the New England Patriots. You might be reminiscing on the dynamic tight end duo of Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez. Well, after selecting Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers in back-to-back years of the NFL draft, the Raiders have had an opportunity to redefine the tight end position now. Now, I know you at home are dreaming of a lot of those 2 tight end sets like me. After the break, we're actually going to dream it up.
You're watching Sin City Beat.
If Taylor Swift is dating a tight end, then I guess tight ends must be in style. After selecting a tight end in the second of the last year's draft, 2 drafts in a row, the Raiders have went ahead and drafted another at 13th overall. But Brock Bowers out of Georgia is certainly different. We saw the impact the rookie tight end Sam Laporta has had for the Detroit Lions last year. So Q, do you see Brock Bowers having a similar immediate impact like Sam Laporta?
Yeah, I definitely expect him to have an immediate impact. I mean, this guy is a weapon, right? I mean, it's so funny when they drafted him, and I was sitting there in Detroit, I was kind of stunned and really didn't have anything to say, which, as you know, is rare that I didn't have anything to say, and then realize how good of a player this guy is. And the fact that he's listed as a tight end is nice, but you could put him anywhere. You could put him in the backfield. You could put him out wide. I mean, you could just use him as a weapon. And, you know, we talked about the Raiders' offense. The one thing they need is weapons, right? They need to be able to score touchdowns, not field goals. And so he's going to help them do that. I think he's going to have an immediate impact.
And I think the one thing that's looked really good in the little bit of practice we've had, the media being open. I know I just hated on the offense, but man, Brock Bowers looks like everything. He's slated up to be.
He looks like him.
There'll be some broken plays or the quarterback's terrible and you think there's no one to throw to. He'll somehow just get open. I think that's using Gardner Minshew's words too. He's made some plays already.
He's a lot like Kelsey in that regard, where he kind of just is a playmaker in a lot of ways. But let's talk about this, Mariah, since you are our New England Patriots homer here. We all remember the good old days of Aaron Hernandez and Gronkowski and what that really did, how that opened up that offense after they were kind of stunted after a few years. What do we think about Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers and them coming together? Is there going to be certain, factors that kind of remind you of all those days? I
mean, look, they're young, but they're 2 big-bodied dudes, and I think it's going to take some time to test it out during practices and see what works, what doesn't. Again, this Luke Getsy offense, we don't really know what it's going to look like, but they have the time to figure it out. From the talks that they've had, it seems like Luke is into, exploring some creative plays, and I think there is potential to, maximize a pass-catching tight end duo in 12 personnel. Why not try it out and see if it works? Because, again, they're big guys. Who's going to cover both of them? Try it out, see if it works.
I would like to see it. Even Michael came out and said, at first when he saw the selection, he was like, kind of, what's going on? And then he kind of let it marinate for a little bit, and then he recognized, hey, this could be kind of an interesting situation.
That was the first thing I thought of when they drafted him because of Michael Mayer. And I get it, Michael Mayer didn't have the rookie season maybe we expected, but I watched him at Notre Dame. I know it's in there.
Really
He's
good player.
Good,
really
man.
good player. Yep.
So I think both of them, if they live up to their potential, you could have something good cooking here.
Yeah, you could put them on the field together, and you could show one kind of formation the defense could commit, and then you could switch without taking them off the field, right? Because, again, the versatility of Bowers, that's what I think is going to be the difference maker. But then, again, it's going to go back to Getsy to put them in the right position.
Yeah, and, I mean, listen, we always talk about this on this show. What is a quarterback's best friend? A tight end. You give them 2. That's not a bad situation, especially when you're expecting some pretty weak quarterback play. Do we think Brock Bowers, I mean, how many touchdowns do you expect Brock Bowers to have in his rookie season?
It's always tough in a rookie year to get a whole lot, but I think what did Mayer have, 2 last year? He got 2 late. I think he'll certainly go over that. I'd set it at about, say, 5.5, 6.
I would think 5 is reasonable. I mean, look, you got Devontae, who's a touchdown magnet, right? He's a guy that knows how to get into the end zone. You're assuming that Zamir White, the running game, is going to be effective. You're hoping it's going to be effective down in the red zone. You got Bowers. There's going to be Mayer's going to. There's a lot, and hopefully that's a big problem for him to have, right? Is all the different guys that are trying to get touchdowns because that means they're scoring more than they did last year. That'll be the biggest thing. But yeah, I think 5 is reasonable.
And I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if Mayer turns into more of the red zone threat. I think he's going to be used more like a traditional tight end. I know they're both tight ends technically, but I'm really all in on this thing where I think they're going to be splitting Brock Bowers out. He's going to work a lot as a slot receiver.
I agree.
I love it. All right. Would be good to see. And guys, listen, from the good side of tight ends to the bad. Yes, first he loses Kelsey Plum, and now it looks like he might retire. Darren Waller has experienced a weird downturn. The panel is going to share their thoughts next. Not too long ago, there was a time when number 83 jerseys flooded Allegiant Stadium. Darren Waller was the apple of our eye. And now, after a public breakup with Aces star Kelsey Plum, the current New York Giants seems to be on the verge of retiring. Mariah, shed some light on what's happening here. What has happened? What is the downfall?
Tell us.
Of Darren marriage?
Tell us what's happened. Break it down.
You're the counselor. She's the insider.
The counselor. Tell us.
Okay. Listen. I'm not going to get into the marriage because I'm going to get in trouble and HR is going to call me in and it's just going to go downwards.
Okay.
But in terms of his career, let's be real. Darren Waller had 2 good seasons, 2019, 2020, over 1,000-yard seasons. Before and after that, there wasn't really much to desire from my point of view. And I remember his last season here, all I kept hearing was, he's not into it. He doesn't really care. He doesn't really want to be here. And again, it didn't really translate with the Giants either. I don't just think when you're committing yourself to being a pro athlete, you have to be all in. And if there's part of you that's not, you're going to see it on all levels of the game, and it's going to just result in that stat line going down and down and down, and you're just not desired.
It's a sad story because I've interviewed him. He's such a great guy. He was very involved in the community. He was really like, a sweet, kind of soft-spoken figure, and you could really tell he was a thoughtful guy. And he had so much success in those couple seasons. And when you look at his build, when you look at his athleticism and what he could accomplish, I think that's part of what makes the narrative and the story so sad, is because you look at it and what could have been.
He was a great story. He was a great story, right? Everyone loves a comeback story. He was a comeback guy to a whole nother level, right? And then he started taking care of the community, looking out for others that were coming back. Great dude to interview in the locker room. I mean, we could all attest to that. Just a good dude, and so I'll always root for him. But like Mariah said, she hit it on the head. When you start to show signs that you're not all the way in, you might as well be retired, right? When they started talking about, well, Darren Waller's thinking about retirement, well, you might as well go ahead and retire. Once you start thinking about that, you're already kind of checked out. And so you could tell he's the guy that needs other things besides just football. He can't be 100% obsessed with it like the greats are. The greats are obsessed with it to a whole nother level. He needs a little bit of balance, and he needs to be able to do other things like his music, like walking the whatever.
Of course, speaking of his music, Case, I know this is the one. I know I know you love your hip hop, your rap. I mean, it's your thing. If you take a look at Case's Spotify, his Discover Weekly, listen, it's a lot of craziness. It's a lot of different stuff.
Hey, in all seriousness, I listen to everything, but I only watched that Darren Waller video once.
Tell me what you think about that music video.
Someone sent it to me the morning it dropped, and I just said, oh no, just to kind of echo you guys' sentiments. I mean, what a great guy. The only Raider in history. He won back-to-back our media award that we vote for, the best guy to talk to.
Really?
So I felt like, I had a little bit of a relationship with him. Such a good guy that you just like, oh no, don't embarrass yourself like this. And he's talented musically too, but I don't know the direction he's going in now.
Talented musically?
This was not, I think so. I mean, if you heard some of his, okay, I go back to years ago when Max. I think Max was in his second year. Max said he was in the booth with him, and he was really talented. He was a good rapper, but he's beyond rap now. That wasn't hip hop. What was that? Some auto-tune thing? I can't even get anything out of Q. He's just standing down. Man, that was not the direction to go. No. That song was not talented. I'm saying he has some avenues.
He was trying to be a little bit more like R&B-ish Drake rather than.
He was T-Paining it up. It was a T-Pain.
That's an insult to T-Pain.
I love T-Pain.
Well, yeah, but it was auto-tuned up. I mean, that was the thing, and that's what he's been doing a lot of. And look, I mean, hey, whatever his craft is, whatever he feels like, is his lane. Is cool. It's not for me. Let's put it like that. His music is not for me.
I'm gonna buy anybody a drink. A little T-Pain reference there. If they answer this question.
Thanks for taking some heat off me.
Seriously though, because I was sprung when I saw the point where he has.
Were you ever in love with?
A talented woman.
There you go. That's why me and Mariah.
I do want to buy somebody a drink who tells me what they thought about the backstabbing portion of this music video.
I was gonna say, okay. He would not have released this song if there wasn't a music video to accompany it, because you're listening to the song and you're like, I don't care, I don't get it. But then you watch the video and you're like, she looks like someone I know.
What did we think?
I didn't like that at all. I didn't like the fact that she was in the video.
And then there's a knife in the back.
Somebody representing Kelsey Plum in the video. If for everybody at home hasn't seen it. Public divorce, public breakup between Kelsey Plum and obviously everything going on with Darren Waller. And in the music video, he's on a beach. It's very, picturesque, and then all of a sudden, a Kelsey Plum-ish type figure stabs him in the back, and then he fake dies.
I don't think we need an art degree to say what the backstabbing represented. I have more questions about other parts of the video. Like, what about the dirt road line? What about the random shot of them bowling? Tell me what that represented.
That was
good times back in Wisconsin. Everybody.
Come on, let's just air it.
I'll tell you, look, I didn't like the fact that there was a female and there was supposed to be representing Kelsey Plum. I thought that was unnecessary, right? I mean, if you're going to break up with someone, break, right? Don't show them that you're missing them and all this other stuff. Like, hey, man, kick rocks then.
Case, let's do a fake die face together real quick, because he does that in the video. Ready?
Here's the water. Just lay flat.
I got some water. You want me to throw some water at you? I got some water. I can throw some water at you and make it better.
We're not getting any Academy Awards or Emmys right now for this show. All right, let's get positive, though, for a second. Let's think about success. I'm asking the panel a very interesting question after the break. It has nothing to do with T-Pain, although we love him so very much. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sin City Beat. Okay, I got a very important question for y'all. We want to think positive right now after that last block. So let's talk about success. Who is going to be the most important person responsible for the Raiders' success this season? It could be Deuce Gruden. It could be a coach. It could be a player. It could be an usher at Allegiant Stadium. It's whoever you think is going to be the key to the success for this football team this year.
That's a really good question, actually, because I think there's multiple candidates, right, that you can point at and say, okay, this guy is going to play a major role. It could be a couple guys on the coaching staff. I think AP is going to have a role. I think Luke Getsy is going to have a role. The defense in general is going to have a role. You know what? I'll go on the defensive side of things, since I'll respect the exercise that we're going with. I'm going to say Christian Wilkins.
Yeah.
Christian Wilkins, the addition of him is going to make everyone on that defensive side of the ball that much better. Jack Jones with a full year is going to be that much better. Nate Hobbs in a contract year is going to be that much better. Trayvon Merrick on the back end. Robert Spillane and those linebackers. Like, everyone gets better because of that dude in the middle. So I'm going to rock with Christian Wilkins.
That's what I was going to say, because I feel like...
What are you going to say, or are you just stealing my shine?
No, I really was. I really was, because to me, the amount of money they gave him, how much?
100-something million?
100-something million. If he flounders, if he does not perform up to the expectations that are really... on everybody's mind, then that's going to be a huge mood killer. Yeah. And that's going to be, it's going to hurt the team for a lot of years coming. Yep. And I think if he comes in and he's ready to play and he's what we expected, what that's going to mean for Max Crosby, what that's going to mean for Tyree Wilson and what he can do on the other side of the line. I mean, that's huge to me. And I think this is going to be a defensive-minded team no matter what. It's not going to be a quarterback situation. It's not going to be an offensive team. So if he comes in and he plays all-pro football, this team's going to be really good, I think.
I agree with a lot of what both you guys are saying, but that's also the reason why I wouldn't pick him. Is I think even if he does quote-unquote flounder or isn't quite to the level we thought he'd be, I still think his floor is so high. Like,
really?
I feel like this defense's baseline is going to be good at worst. So to me, you got to pick someone on offense, and I wish I could pick just one, but I think it's going to be who is tasked with getting the ball to Davante Adams. You still have one of the best offensive weapons in the NFL. I mean, Davante Adams a little bit older, but he still should have a year or two left where he's like offensive player of the year type weapon. They weren't able to use him that way last year. They couldn't get the ball to him consistently. Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew, whoever wins that job, they got to get the ball to Davante.
What about the offensive line coach? What about the offensive line coach?
That is a big thing too. A question for you, Case. Make pretend you are Davante Adams for a second. Make pretend you have a Taco Bell in your house.
Damn.
Okay?
Oh, all right.
You have Taco Bell in your house and you're Davante Adams. Who do you want throwing you the football? Do you have a preference right now?
I'm ready for Q and Mariah and everyone else to yell at me. And I said, I think it's Gardner Minshew. I just look at the way he can extend plays. I think he fits a little bit better in what we've seen in past Luke Getsy offenses. Maybe he tweaks it if they really like Aiden O'Connell and can work it for him. But I think Minshew is a little bit better fit to me.
Okay, all right.
I'll rock with Aiden O'Connell real quick.
Really?
I'll say that because of the continuity. He was there, been there, done that. And so, I mean, does Davante really need another quarterback? I mean, think about that. His career, he had one quarterback, right? He comes to the Raiders and he's got Carr, Jimmy G, Brian Hoyer, Aiden O'Connell. Who else was there? There was another quarterback there.
Chase Garber?
Who knows? Like, I mean, just what I'm saying. Like, you see, there's so many all these different quarterbacks. He's had one dude his whole career until he ended up with the Raiders.
And a really good dude.
Facts.
Exactly.
That part.
That's a shame. All right, real quickly, Mariah, before we get off on a tangent and we talk about Crunchwrap Supremes or something like that. Tell us, who is the key to the success for this team? Who's your pick?
I mean, I hate to beat a dead horse, but Luke Getsy, I'm just really interested to see how he makes this offense run. And it will start with the quarterback play. Who is running your plays? Who's getting the ball to these weapons? How are you spacing out these weapons and utilizing them to their fullest potential? There's a lot to be desired there. So I'm very interested to see how that all works out, and that's where it's going to be. The defense, I'm confident. I don't need to bat an eye at that, but that offense.
There you go. What a panel, guys. Q Myers. We got Case Baja Blast Kiefer, and we also got Mariah Chavez. I don't know. I was trying to come up with something else on a Taco Bell menu. Guys, I'm Mike Davis. What a great show. We can't wait to see you next week on Cincinnati. You kind of got a Baja Blast Blue.
Case Kiefer got some alliteration there.
Yeah, alliteration.
Whatever.
It only hits after midnight. Isn't that what they say?
All right, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for hanging out. The Blue and the Baja.